what is truth? Now, depending on what kind of person we are, what choices we make as far as perspective goes, very much shades our perception of what truth is, how we interpret the world, how we interpret reality, how we try to understand ourselves, through what lenses we gaze at all that is without and within. And what is within very much dictates what is without. Now, if I don't have a sense like being able to see or hear, I will not have that perspective on reality, on existence, on the world. So I have to basically go off of other stimuli. Whether it be if I'm deaf, then I have to go off of what I see. If I'm blind, then what I hear, and of course smell, taste, interpret once we learn language. But even language itself can be a very defining perspective based on what we're able to understand, because we understand through language. Now, many people look through and at the world by way of spirituality or religion or politics. These are all attempts to try and both understand the world and govern how we should interact with it and how we should interact with others who have their own stimuli that they judge the world off of, and own perspectives that they look at the world through, whether it be inside or outside. And I'd highly recommend that we develop an understanding of how we view the world inwardly before we suppose to tell what people should believe or know outwardly. What we think we know is often tinged by the assumptions we make early on, whether it be we assume that God exists, or we assume that modern science is the only way to look at creation, existence, and how everything came to be and is. But, whether it be through religion, spirituality, religion, science, or politics is more about how we should have a relationship to others' idea of truth. How we should basically live as a society of people who believe different things about truth. What is true and what is truth. What is true to us will not be the exact same in any other person. Whether we adopt an ideology, whether it be Christianity, or we adopt the ideology of, these are wide-ranging things, so socialism, or being Republican or Democrat, or being white or being black, based on what we're around, the kinds of ideological stimuli, if you will, that we receive, very much dictates interactions with other people. If we view somebody as not being the same kind of person viewing the world through our own lenses, the lenses that we have chosen or have been forced upon us a lot of the time, at least to some extent, then we start to feel that person is further away from what is true, and the truths that they accept, the assumptions that they make, are incorrect, whereas ours are correct, presumably. I mean, the one thing that I believe, probably before anything else, is that I don't ultimately know anything. This is the ancient Socratic principle. The only thing that I know is that I know nothing, and this can be defeating for a lot of people. It can be painful to say, okay, maybe this isn't true, and a lot of people want to say, no, I know this is true. This has to be the truth. And a lot of times because of fear, but also it's because to venture outside of the lenses that we've been using for so long is to see a different world, to see a different reality. To interpret is to see in a certain light, and to see the world in a different light can be both terrifying and fascinating. To me, fascinating, because I always try to look through other people's lenses. But as an individual, it would be best if we tried to put on different lenses, try to look through different people's point of view. And a lot of the time, we view reality through a completely different light. There are shades that we don't understand. There are differences between different groups, different political, religious, spiritual groups, between different societal groups, different social tendencies like liberal, conservative, or different spiritual tendencies like, okay, well, everyone has different bit of the truth, or, okay, everybody else is going to hell. When we look through all of these different lenses, there is a magnification of reality, and reality comes forth in a more complete light. That doesn't mean that we decide that everybody's right, or everybody's wrong, or everybody else is wrong, or just slightly different. It just means that we can accept a more complex understanding of how all of the other sentient beings relate to existence. And how we all relate to existence is very much the project of man. We've been trying to understand existence, creation, if you will. We've been trying to understand ourselves for a long time, ever since we became truly aware that we are individuals. We have been trying to relate to everything without as individuals, and many of us have accepted the truths that others have given us, and other people, like myself, have tended to look through many people's understandings. But what is true to you doesn't necessarily have to be the law by which you judge others. It's important to not judge others through your own relationship to truth. If we say, okay, if anybody else doesn't believe this, even if this is a big thing for me and that other people not believing it, then obviously those people are bad. That isn't the case. We can divide perception of truth and assumptions that go along with truth and how we judge existence and see the world from our judgment of other people. And judging other people's truths or what is true for us by what is true to them is a way that cuts off exchange. It cuts off the ability of our own truths that we accept to expand in our own understanding, and for us to kind of grasp at least the feelings that exist within other people that they're trying to explain to us. So when we consider another perspective, we are clued into their feelings, their inner emotional connections, or their inner attachments or unattachments, and to throw that aside just because we want to stick to our own ideas is a great waste. So I'd highly recommend that you try and look into what is true to other people, how they view truth, how they look at existence. I've said this before, I've said this many times, but I felt the need to clarify that truth, what is true and what is truth, are very specific. The universe and God, if you will, is not minute and confined. Our understanding is minute and confined, and it is only that way if we allow it to be. It can continue to expand. It can continue to become something greater than it is now, or it can decay in its own isolation. So think about truth and think about what is true. And I would love to hear your thoughts on this topic. It's a very vague topic, but I would love to hear what you have to say on the matter. Feel free to shoot down in the comment section below. If you like this video at all, hit that thumbs up down there, and I hope to see you in the future. Just remember to look at yourself and to look at the world with that. Thank you very much.